Hey there Guardians, Evade here and welcome back to Destiny Guides. Today we're going to discuss more about the Dreaming City, particularly a place called the Keep of Voices, as that's where the raid is going to take place. With all this information spilling out all over the place, I thought it'd be nice to tie it together and come up with some theories on what truly lies beyond the reef.
They will feel my wrath. Open the reef to the Guardians. Offer the riches of our realm as bounty for these traitors.
So we obviously don't know what the raid boss is going to be, but that's the point of this video, talking about some options, putting some theories behind it, and getting your opinions. So let's jump right into it. So I'm going to read a description of the Dreaming City and then we'll discuss specifics and talk raid stuff. The Dreaming City is the long-hidden home of the Awoken and acts as an aspirational location filled with secrets, new activities, a new raid, and dynamic content that changes week to week. What you come to learn through the campaign is that everyone's trying to get to the Dreaming City, Taylor says. Unlike recent expansions, there are threads that you end up learning towards the end of the campaign that are only fully paid off once you beat the raid. Just like the Tangled Shore, the Dreaming City is a full-size destination about the size of Nessus. So you can use your Sparrow here, and the place is filled with opportunities of discovery modeled after the success of the Dreadnought from the Taken King. But unlike the Tangled Shore, you won't go there during the campaign. In fact, you can't even enter the Dreaming City until you finish the campaign, and even then you might not be powerful enough to face some of the threats that lurk within. This is the first destination we've hidden from players until they believe they've completed the story, Cotton says. Dedicated players must level up and earn the gear they'll need to face these new threats, and there's plenty of leveling to be done. So Forsaken is going to bring the level cap up to 50 and the power level to 600. So when you first visit it, some of the creatures there or enemies may have question marks above their heads, suggesting that they're well beyond your current tier. Virtually drawn from the pages of a classic fantasy novel, this is the elven homeland under threat from an insidious dragon that has infected its heart. They then talk about some of the art, how Destiny always had, beautiful skyboxes, and that's going to continue in the Dreaming City. There's going to be things like towering suspension bridges and crossing vast gulfs high above the ground. But the Dreaming City is more than it first appears to be. While the breathtaking architecture and landscapes are impressive, they're also infected by the curse of the Taken. Moments after arriving for the first time, I am pulled into the Ascended Realm and nearly overcome by Taken forces. This destination exists across these dual planes, and it will take weeks to fully unravel the mystery. So in the Dreaming City, Petravenge is going to be our vendor. So new secrets and missions will reveal themselves, enemy configurations and power levels will increase, and the Taken curse may take greater holds on the environment and places around you. At the end of the cycle of this Dreaming City, after weeks change and things evolve, he says, "I'm told a greater secret awaits discovery for Pinnacle players to confront." Over weeks, the destination becomes more and more cursed, and it's more evident that things are not right here, Cotton says. And the players are the ones to start this change to the world. And lastly, looming at the center of the city is a great castle on a mountain called the Keep of Voices. This is where the new raid takes place. Within, we're promised a continuation of the narrative introduced with Aldrin's madness in the campaign, and the reveal of a greater threat behind the curtain. So I know that was a long explanation and there was a lot there, but it definitely gives you an idea of how big the Dreaming City is and how things are going to evolve. So you heard me talk about an insidious dragon and an even bigger threat behind the curtain, so let's talk about the raid. So were quotes like "this is the elven homeland under threat from an insidious dragon" just a metaphor, kind of like explaining us the fantasy elements of the game, or is there an actual sort of dragon infecting the heart of the Dreaming City? So as for the final raid boss or this giant threat, let's first begin with the Ahamkara. This was a species first encountered by humans on Venus, said to resemble dragons, but they were exterminated by order of the Tower. The Ahamkara appeared sometime after the Traveler terraformed Venus. They are described as the dragons that made promises, and many Guardians made deals with them for their knowledge and their power. The Tower then came to a decision that the price of these deals was too high and ordered that the Ahamkara be made extinct in what became known as the Great Ahamkara Hunt. So most of them became extinct, but some were rumored to be as seen far out as Jupiter and Io. Now, given Game Informer's description of a dragon, this is the closest thing we have in the Destiny universe. I mean, they are essentially dragons that grant wishes. The only weird thing for me is how it got there. Some of these Ahamkar are alive, yes, but is it being held there by something, and why would it be against us? Perhaps, for hunting their species, but who knows? Next up, we have Aldrin. Now, you would think Aldrin may be a raid boss, right? I mean, he is the one who kills Kate 6 at the beginning of the campaign and leads this giant Scorn army. So in my opinion, here's how it may unfold. In Forsaken, in terms of the story, the final mission may involve an encounter with Aldrin. Whether we're going to kill him or not, you can almost bet on it, as this happens many times in Destiny's previous expansions. In the House of Wolves, we faced Skolas, shot him down, and the Queen put him back in the prison, where we then faced him in the endgame activity, the Prison of Elders. Next, think about the Taken King. Same thing happened. Oryx in the final mission, and then Oryx in the King's Fall raid. With Destiny 2, things were kind of a little bit different. Instead of facing Gaul in the first raid, we had Callus leading us through his Leviathan for 3 different raids. Now with Forsaken, Bungie has also confirmed that there is going to be more raid layers. So multiple more raids in the Dreaming City, and whatever this threat is, it could be pretty big. So Aldrin may or may not be in the raid, but the biggest question is if we're going to kill him or not. Yes, I'm sure most of you want to, and I'm along with you. He killed our friend Cade, but that may not be the case, and Varro explained this in a previous video, and you can check that out if you'd like. Next, let's blow the lid off of this theory. So Joe Blackburn tweeted this. He says, so Holtzman is now asking if he can get the final Forsaken raid boss on his tattoo, but I don't want people pantsing him for spoilers, and I also think she's way too pretty to go where that tattoo is going. So that right there in itself could be huge. Joe Blackburn, who works in these raids, basically confirms that the final raid boss is a female. So is he talking about characters like Mara Sov, or is it something completely different? As I read that, I'm just trying to think of, pretty characters that could relate to this, and I have no idea. Savathun is a freaking hive god, and I mean, unless Mara is Savathun, I don't really see that happening. So a female character is going to be the final raid boss. That's the summary of it, unless Joe is trolling us. Now at first thought, I don't really think this could be Savathun for a couple of reasons. First, we know that there's going to be another expansion next year, possibly involving the Dreadnought or a whole hive situation from the final cutscene. And next, if this was about her, I feel like there would be way more marketing or story build-up behind it. Why would they keep a huge character they've been talking about for over a year now a secret until the end of the game? The only way I could see that working is if the raid layers all tie together until the next expansion coming in 2019, but who knows. So that brings us to our final option, Mara Sov. Not much needs to be said here. Mara is still alive out there, and Aldrin has been looking for her. Last time we see her, she got completely obliterated by Oryx's superweapon. So Mara may have transported herself elsewhere to safety, or perhaps she's taken a different form. Mara and the Reef were allies with the 9 before, even though things got a little tense with the whole Skolas thing, but there still could be a connection there.
I can hear you clearly. My brother is too distant. I can hear you clearly. My brother is too distant.
Now, alongside all that information and those theories, Bungie also said this.
When we build one of these factions, we try and make sure that they work across all of our activity types. It would be awesome if there was a Scorn raid someday.
So no Scorn raid in an expansion where they're the main focal point? We know that all 8 Barons are going to be in adventures, and that's how we're going to clean out most of them and take them down. I'm not sure if the Fanatic is included in those adventures or if he's in, the final campaign mission, but not having Scorn in the raid seems kind of weird to think about at this point. And that's another reason why I love Destiny and its story. That's why I make videos like this one. Yes, this is a fantasy game and we're in space and things like that, but there's also this fantasy element. There could be anything going on in the Dreaming City, and we can make all these theories and speculation videos and talk about anything we want, but we're not going to know until we get our hands on it. So Guardians, what is your opinion? What will a final raid boss be, and how do you feel about the Scorn apparently not being in the raid? If you'd like to try out for a voice part, voice acting a character in my game, there's a link down below to the Google Doc that shows all the current available characters. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.